upset about nothing. Nothing is a state of mind.
Hector, no? Amazing at the start. 2 hours later. Amazing. Yeah, and welcome to Gremlin Head for the last time ever, and we're filming it. So I hope you've all been to the toilet because you cannot leave now. All right? Or maybe you can just piss yourself. See some people in the middle, like looking a bit concerned. Don't worry, it's a joke. You don't have to. You can go. Anyway, the show is called Gremlin Head, and you're seeing an element of it right now. Is that like I have like intrusive urges in my head, like why don't you tell people they can piss themselves at the start of the show? And then I listen to that voice, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I say it, and then everyone in the audience is like, what is he doing? And I'm like, I think I should stop talking about this right now. And the voice in the head is like, no, keep talking about it. They like it. And I'm like, I don't think they like it. I'll keep, but that's how I've chosen to start my filmed special. With that, yeah. My name is Andy. Now we get to this is the real start now. So that bit may well just be edited out at the when you see it on YouTube, not Netflix. Don't worry about that. My name is Andy. I come from London. Do we have any Londoners in? Okay. Ish. Whoever said ish, I am exactly the same because I don't really come. I pretend I come from London because it sounds cool. I come from like the outskirts of London, and it's very scary when you meet people from real London when you come from the outskirts because they treat you like you're kind of like a subhuman scum. Do you know what I mean? Like you meet them at a party, you're like, hi, my name's Andy, I'm from London, and they're like, oh, you're from London? Me too. Yeah. Which part of London are you from? And then I say the part of London that I'm from. And they go, that's not London. Oh, are you trying to impress these people at the party? What are you doing? And I'm like, please, not in front of them. They think I'm cool. Please don't ruin this for me. They think I'm from London. You know, like when I meet people from London, I feel like. Have you ever seen the film 300? Yes. I feel like that little mutant goblin man from the film 300. For those of you who haven't seen the film 300, there's like I'll describe the film for you. Okay. First of all, there's these 300 ancient Greek, like Spartan warriors, right? And they have like 6-packs and big pectoral muscles, and like they're topless for the whole movie. And you watch it, and first of all, you have an intrusive thought, "Am I gay?" But you just ignore that. You just keep watching it. Like, you know, I think I'm here for the spears and the shields and the fighting. There's a bit in the film, right, where there's this like little like goblin mutant man, and he wants to join the army of the Spartans. He's made his own like spear and stuff. It's cute, and he goes up to the king of the Spartans. He's like, "Please, can I be in your army? Please, can I? Please?" And the king of the Spartans is like, "Can you raise your shield this high?" And he's like, "No." And the king's like, "Then go back to your field." And that's how I feel when I meet people from London. I'm like, "Please, can I be from London? Let me be from London, please." "Do you have a tube station?" "No." "We have red buses." "Go back to your field." But I live in Barcelona now. I've been living here for 9 years. British guy living in Barcelona. Very hard to integrate into Spanish society when you're British. Everyone thinks you're a tourist. It breaks your heart. You go into a restaurant, you talk in Spanish to the waiter, they talk straight back to you in English. No, it's sad. You're like, "Hola, ¿tienes una mesa para 2 personas?" Listen, mate, it's cute. You've done Duolingo for 2 weeks. We don't have to do this dance. Here's the menu in English. Do you want a pint of beer? I'm like, come on, man. Don't treat me like that, man. Don't treat me like those other British people, man. Don't treat me like those tourists. I'm better than them, man. I made an effort, man. I learned your language, man. And he's always like, "Oh, you learned my language. You speak Catalan." I'm like, "Not that language." Think I'm a genius? Give me a break. I'm a British guy that speaks restaurant competent Spanish. Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how good that is? Do you know that like people in the UK think I'm a hero? Do you know that? When you speak restaurant competent Spanish and your friends come to visit you, they give you unfair love that you don't deserve. Like you'll be in a restaurant, you're just like simple, you're like, una botella de vino? They're like, oh my God, you're fluent. I have to be like, calm down. Like last week I ordered a cunt of ice cream because the word for cunt and the word for cone are very similar. Coño Congo, yes. There's lots of people in the audience who are like, yeah, we've done it too. Yeah. It was delicious. But it's hard. It's hard learning Spanish when you're an English speaker. We don't have masculine and feminine. That's one thing. Like, did you know that the Spanish word for chicken is one letter different to the Spanish word for cock? That's the other one. Pollo, polla. Like, I feel like if you're a British person and you've come to live in Spain, they should have someone at the airport just when you get off the plane be like, hey man, be careful ordering a chicken sandwich. Because I ordered a cock sandwich like about 10 times. And like I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that the woman in the cafe hated me, but I didn't know why. It was the same cafe every day, and it was like to the other customers, she'd be like, "Hola, cariño, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué guapo eres? Oh." To me, she's like, "What do you want?" I'd be like, "Could I have a cock sandwich, please?" And then I'd rollerblade out of the cafe. Yeah, I was on rollerblades every time. And I think like you can understand why you can feel sympathy for why she. Can you imagine that every day? Some guy like, one cock sandwich, please. Bye. I appreciate why she hated me, you know. I joined a football team. I thought that would be a good way to like make friends, integrate. It lasted one day. The coach like saw I was new. We were all standing in a circle. He points at me and he goes, "Introduce yourself." But I heard, "Sit down." I don't know, because the words are similar. I don't know if anybody's ever asked you to introduce yourself, and instead of saying your name, you just said absolutely nothing. And then just sat down on the floor. But that's what I did. He's like, "Introduce yourself." I'm like, why is he asking me to sit down? He hasn't asked anybody else to sit down. I'm almost like 100% sure that sitting down right now would be the worst thing to do. I shouldn't be doing this. But there's all these guys standing around, they're looking at me like, well, he's asked you, come on. And you know when there's that pressure to do something, you're like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is wrong, but okay, here I go, just start sitting down. And then a split second later, I realized, I was like all my brain caught up with the context. I was like, oh fuck, he said introduce yourself. No. That's a slow, lonely journey to the floor. I think you have two options in that situation. Option number one, just sit down, like just own it, like I'm a fucking idiot. Option number two, maybe can you just before you get to the floor, maybe just, hey, hello, I'm Andy, I'm a bouncy guy. But I didn't think quickly enough, and I just sat down, and I was just sat there, all these Spanish guys looking at me like, why the hell did that guy just sit down? I'm just sitting there, just like drinking in the shame, just like, man, you are never gonna integrate into Spanish society. Introduce yourself, that was too difficult. Introduce yourself, the first step in making friends with anybody. You couldn't manage that, you fucking idiot. What are you gonna do next? Like, hey guys, wanna go for a cock sandwich after training? I was a primary school teacher. That's why I moved here. I was a primary school teacher. Started working in a private school. Someone was laughing at that already. They're like, you shouldn't be allowed near children. Fair enough. I started working in a private school, right? And it's weird, because I wasn't used to that. And it's weird when you work with rich kids, because they they grow up in this kind of like rich bubble, you know? And they think that everyone in the world is rich because of their experience. So you end up having like weird conversations with them. You're like, oh, Miguel, what are you doing this weekend, man? He's like, oh, me and my family, we're going to our house in the Pyrenees. Andy, do you have a house in the Pyrenees? Miguel, I don't even have a house. I'm flat sharing with these 3 Spanish women. They hate me. I asked one of them if she wanted some of my chicken. She went crazy. I'm looking for a new place, you know. But it's hard. Like I was a good teacher, I think, but I'm someone I like doubt myself a lot, and that's not good. It's hard to be a teacher when you doubt yourself a lot. It's hard to have discipline in the classroom, you know, because like the kids can smell weakness, you know. You'd be like, stop talking, and they'd be like, I wasn't talking, and I'm like, oh, sorry. terrible classroom management. I had to, I quit. I gave up. I quit, and I started doing like one-on-one tutoring. That's what I started doing, like one-on-one, still with rich kids, you know. And I had this moment when I was. Have you ever had like a moment in your life where like the clouds part and a beam of light comes down from heaven, and the voice of God is just like, "You are a loser." Have you ever had that? I had that. I was teaching this kid one-on-one, and I was trying to teach him how to phrase questions correctly in English. Because that's something Spanish kids struggle with, right? Like you'll be teaching a lesson and the kid will put their hand up, you're like, yeah? And he's like, I can go to the toilet. And you're like, okay. Does anybody else want to interrupt the lesson for some sort of mediocre brag, or can we just carry on with this? You're in 4th grade, it's like not that impressive, you know. So I'm trying to teach him that. And like he has ADHD, so it's difficult to kind of like you have to try and make it fun. And I tried to do this thing that I used to do when I was a full-time teacher. At the end of the year, as a fun treat, I would always go to the kids. Okay, now you can ask me anything you want about my personal life. Yes. They didn't ask the thing you're thinking. The guy who was like, oh, they didn't ask that, whatever you're thinking. You know, but like, okay, it sounds stupid, but like for them, it's really fun. They're like, do you have a girlfriend? And you're like, yeah, and they're like, ugh, you know, it's like, it's fun for them. Okay, so I did that with this kid, and I said, listen, Nico, if you phrase the question correctly, then I'll answer it. If you don't, I won't. That's the game. Okay. Do you know the question that this rich kid asked me? He thought for a second. And he goes, how many square meters is your apartment? What the fuck? Bear in mind, I've been tutoring this kid for a year. I know he doesn't understand the concept of area. I know that. The concept he does understand, apparently, is toxic masculine dick measuring. He just wanted to hear me say the number because he knew it was going to be smaller than his, you know what I mean? And probably, let's be honest, he probably does have a bigger dick than me as well. Let's be honest. So yeah, because right, I'll tell you this. I think like I think I might have a small dick, right? I'll explain. Because you know, fellas, you'll know this if you're in a relationship. Like sometimes, you know, you feel comfortable with your lady. At some point, you want to know. You're curious. You're like, is my dick good? Is it good? I did that to my girlfriend. I was like, is it what size is it? You know, is it good? And she was like, it's the perfect size for me, which is woman for small. It was like in that moment when that kid said that to me, I just like it was like the clouds open, this beam of light from. Okay. Do you want to say it again? Well, that felt like it just came out of absolutely nowhere. Was that just a confirmation? Like, yeah, I've been looking at it for the last minute. It is small. I can confirm it's a small cock. Yeah, you're wearing tight trousers. We can't see it. Anyway, like that moment, the light, you know, came down from heaven. Like, you are a loser. You know, this kid's life is better than yours. You suck. You know. And I think like in that moment, like I felt like a kind of symbol for my generation, you know? Like I'm 35, like our parents are much wealthier than us. We're just economically downwardly mobile, do you know what I mean? Because like my dad was a civil servant, I'm just a servant. On that trajectory, what's my son gonna be? Just like a human bench or something? Like, €5, you wanna sit? I found like teaching during the pandemic, that was tough. That was really, really hard. I was like in another country. I was missing my parents. They were back home in the UK. They're older. I was like worried about them. I was in a flat share, Like, I don't know, did anyone else just give up during the pandemic? Did you just like stop washing and like, was there just trash all over the floor of your bedroom? But what I did, there was just trash everywhere. But what I made sure was that I had like a rectangle of functionality in my life for the Zoom calls. You know what I mean? Like you'd be in a Zoom call with your boss, and then you're wearing a shirt. You're like, yeah, I'm really professional. Yeah, I'm really professional. But in your head, you're like, this guy doesn't know my foot is touching bread right now. You've got to, like when you're down, when you're depressed, you've got to find little things like that to like boost you up, don't you think? Like when I'm depressed, I'll give this as a tip. Like if you ever get sad, right, here's the thing I recommend. Go swimming. That's the best thing, right? Go swimming. Because like when you're in the swimming pool and your goggles fill up with tears. And that thing, and then you get out, he's like, no. It happened to me. That thing you get out of the swimming pool and you're like emptying your goggles of all the water. All the other people in the swimming pool, they're looking at you thinking, that guy probably had his goggles on wrong. The water from the swimming pool's got in there. You're like, haha, joke's on you guys. I was crying. Gives you a little boost, you know what I mean? You need those things, right? I mean, during the pandemic though, like I got so depressed, I got so sad, and I don't know. Yeah, do you do this when you get really down? Do you just like look at loads of pornography? Anybody? Thank you. One person who would. Can I just say, by the way, the rest of you liars. Because I've been on the website, I've seen the videos, 6 million views. Is that just me and the person who would? Come on. I do, I was looking at a lot of porn. Okay, sue me, right? But here was the thing, right? And this happened to everybody, right, during the pandemic. Suddenly, the lines between like work and home were suddenly blurred in a way that was like a bit invasive. No, it wasn't fair. We were suddenly expected to work, do our job from our home, from our bedroom, in my case, And it wasn't really fair. These lines suddenly blurred, because I had to carry on teaching on Zoom using the same laptop and Wi-Fi connection that I was using to look at porn. And I know you're judging me right now, but it wasn't my choice. I didn't want this. You think I wanted this? To be in the middle of a maths lesson, look down and see a cummy tissue? Come on, it's not my fault! I didn't want this! It's society's fault! They made this happen. They invaded my lair. I'm gonna call it a lair. That's a bad choice of words. But it was sad, And the thing is, I genuinely did care a lot about the kids, right? They were going through a tough time, like the pandemic crazy. Like I was one of the few stable things in their life, and I took it seriously. It was on me, I felt, to try and like boost their mood, And I was trying my best, but when you pretend to be happy, that's what I had to do, like pretend to be happy, everything's okay. When you pretend to be happy, there's like a hangover, there's like a cost that comes from it. When you feel sad inside and you have to pretend to be happy, that moment where you are allowed to stop being happy, suddenly you feel twice as sad as you did before. Does that make sense? So I'd be there, like reading them a story, trying to keep their spirits up. And Snow White and the 7 dwarfs lived happily ever after. The end. Okay, guys, see you later. Okay, bye. See you tomorrow. Pew. The laptop's there, www.pornhub.com. Snow White fucking the 7 dwarfs. You're right to applaud. But yeah, this show is called Gremlin Head. It's about I guess it's about inappropriate stuff, It's about inappropriate thoughts, really. Intrusive urges, I call them. Do you know what intrusive urges are? They're like, intrusive urges, right? We all have them, I think. It's that thing, when you see like a cat's ass and it's like, keep looking. Do you know what I mean? Or like one step where it's like, boop, and you don't. Oh, okay. I don't do it. It's just an intrusive urge, It's like a little gremlin in your head. That's the point. It's like, do that fucked up thing, Okay, maybe you didn't have that one, right? You know, everyone has them, right? Intrusive urges. They're worse in like high stress situations. In high stress situations, they're worse. Job interview. You know, you're like, oh, you know, tell me about yourself. Say fuck you. Say you fucked his wife. Really good at computers. Tell him about your 9/11 escape room idea. Really good at computers. You know, like it's like. Intrusive urges, right? This is the thing, okay. Like, the thing about intrusive urges I think is interesting is only some of them are distressing. Only some of them cause you like disgust, like moral disgust, you know what I mean? Like you're waiting for a train, it's like, push that guy in front of the train. Normal, fine, don't know him. But you're spending time with your mum, it's like, grab her ass. You're like, oh God, please, why? No, why? Please kill me. You know what I mean? I guess you guys don't have hot mums or something. Or I think we have these intrusive urges. There's kind of like, it's not us, it's like this little gremlin inside. But I do think we also have like authentic urges, you know, things that are like, things we actually want, but it's an impulse, you know. And sometimes it can be difficult to know when it's authentic and when it's intrusive, you know. So like, for example, like, eat the cake. That's me, I want to eat the cake, no? Stick your dick in the blender. That's me again. No, it's the gremlin. But sometimes it can be confusing. You're not sure where it comes from, you know. Stick your dick in the cake. I'm not sure, you know. It's difficult sometimes to know. It's hard. I also think so. Stressful situations, they're worse. In nice, sweet, lovely situations, they can be like the most extreme thing. You know, like how can I fuck this situation up the most? You know what I mean? Like you come back to work from Christmas. Someone's like, "How was your Christmas?" Like, say, "My mum died and I got AIDS." You know what I mean? I went. Did I hear a fucking hell? Strap in. I went to music college when I was 18, right? And I came back from the Christmas holiday, and the teacher started going around to everyone in the class, being like, "How was your Christmas? How was your Christmas?" And I had this intrusive urge. When he asked you, say, "My mum died and I got AIDS." And I turned to my friend and I was like, "Hey man, do you dare me, when he asked me how my Christmas was, do you dare me to say, my mum died and I got AIDS?" And he was like, "No." He was like, "Don't do that, please don't do that. That would be insane, don't do that." And I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I don't know if you know this about jokes, like with a joke, you have to say it like, and by the way, can I just say, the word joke is a very generous description for what this was like. But with a joke or a funny thing, you have to say it straight away, and you know, there's an impulse, you have to follow it, you say it, it's funny. If you sit on it for too long, you start to lose confidence in the joke, you know? And that's what happened with me. And also, I'd heard his reaction, and I was like, he didn't seem to think it was funny. So when it came time for me to actually say my thing, I didn't say it with any confidence at all. I didn't say like, "Yeah, my mum died and I got AIDS." I said it all like weak and second guessing myself. So he was like, "How was your Christmas?" I was like, "Not good. My mum died and I got AIDS." And he was like, "Really?" I was like, "No." It was a joke. And the reaction I got this evening was so much better. Just dead silent. Everyone's like, "What the fuck just happened?" And I knew I fucked up almost immediately. I was like, "Oh no, this is bad." I was like, "Shit, am I going to get kicked out of music college? Fuck, how does that happen?" You know? But I didn't need to worry, right? Because at music college, they just hire like failed rock stars to be the teachers. And these are the people who like have the least discipline in the world. All that happened is he looked at me and went, "Not cool, man. How was your Christmas?" I was like, "Cool, I got away with it, nice." So I've got like OCD. I've got obsessive compulsive disorder, right? And what that means is basically like when I have these intrusive thoughts or these intrusive urges, they pop up and I start to like panic about what they mean and I start to try and control them and like worry about them and I just obsessively like keep thinking about them. And like I kind of I've been to therapy for a while now, so I kind of like I deal with it well. I sometimes wonder like why I have this thing where, you know, these intrusive urges and thoughts come up and it bothers me. And I think it comes from like I was brought up religious. And I was brought up in the church, and they always used to tell me that God is watching everything that you're thinking, you know? He's looking at everything you're thinking, and also, if you think a sin, it's as bad as doing the sin, right? If you think about killing someone, it's the same as if you killed somebody. Crazy thing to tell a kid, right? But that meant that in my adolescence, I would be trying to control my thoughts, you know? I'd be like, imagine sucking a dick, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, God. The more you try and control your thoughts, the worse they get, right? So I'm there going like, I'm sorry, God. And now there's two. Oh, I'm sorry. And now I'm getting fucked up the eye. I'm sorry. Eventually there's just all 300 of them standing around me. Our cocks will block out the sun. And I'm there. Then I will suck them in the shade. This is Sparta! Oh! Again, if you haven't seen the film 300, that bit is not going to make any sense to you. Having OCD, right, I found that the thing I found the most difficult is being in a relationship. Being in a relationship is so hard. Sometimes you'll have like an intrusive thought about your partner, you know. You'll be looking at her one day and be like, oh, her nostrils the same size? And then that's the only thing you can think about, you know? And that thought, suddenly, you're thinking about, like, you're worried about, like, does that mean I don't love her? Does that mean, like, I'm not attracted to her? Am I a piece of shit for thinking that? Is it real? Do I think that? And that is just on loop in your head then, you know? And, like, I've been to therapy, so now my current relationship, like, I'm able to deal with it fine. Like, the other day I had a thought, like, I looked at her, I was like, does her nose look like Donald Trump's nose a little bit? And I just let it go, it didn't bother me, it didn't get stuck, you know, because of therapy. But when I was 20, I was in my first relationship, I hadn't been to therapy, and I didn't know what OCD was, and I didn't know that I had, like, a problem. So when I first started having these thoughts, they were very, very scary. They were very, very painful for me, and I didn't know like what to do. Kind of funny, because what happened was I was looking at my girlfriend one day and had this intrusive thought, does she look like Shrek? Yeah. Now, you're sitting there thinking, did she look like Shrek? She didn't look like Shrek, don't worry. It was just an intrusive thought, you know, one of many that passed through your head. Does she look like Shrek? Does she look like Pikachu next day? I don't know. Does she look like this? But you can appreciate that. Thinking, does my girlfriend look like an ogre, felt incredibly cruel to me. And that was a thought that I really had to control. So Shrek became this huge trigger for me. And I tried to eliminate all references to Shrek from my life. It's not easy, it's very difficult. I've come to realise that Western civilization might be based on Shrek. Like, you'd be walking along, you'd be like, oh, I haven't thought about Shrek for a while. And then a car would go past, somebody once told me the word. You're like, no, God. Very difficult to get rid of Shrek from your life. Now, I didn't know this, right, because I hadn't been to therapy at that point, but there's a treatment for OCD called exposure therapy, right? And what that is basically, so you know the classic, when people talk about OCD, I think the main thing you think about is like excessive hand washing, you know, like somebody's like worried that they're going to get like loads of germs on their hand and cause like a catastrophe, so they wash their hands excessively. So what like exposure therapy would say, like potentially maybe, would be like, tell that person, dip your hands in some mud, leave them there for 10 minutes, do that every day for 2 weeks, and by the end of those 2 weeks, hopefully you'll realise that big catastrophe that you think you're stopping happening, that hasn't happened, right? So you'll start to like realise the thoughts don't have the power you give them, yeah? So what that means is that I should have done a Shrek sex roleplay with my girlfriend. But I hadn't been to therapy, I didn't have that insight, I hadn't been to therapy, I didn't know that. What would that have looked like? Well, she would have been Shrek, I'd have been Lord Farquaad, obviously. She's pegging me, I'm like, curse you, you filthy ogre! Thank you, Hector. Did you hear Hector laugh? Yeah, he likes that bit. I did accidentally get exposure therapy because my girlfriend bought us tickets to see Shrek the musical. There's not a person on this earth who wanted to see Shrek the musical less than I did. But let me tell you, it's a good show. You should go and see it. After 2 hours with Shrek and his friends, I was sort of like, I don't know what it was. Maybe I was like, Shrek's all right, actually. I don't know what, but by the end, and OCD's like that. Sometimes you can have this thing that's bothering you, like worrying, you can't stop thinking about it for months, and then suddenly one day to the next, it just doesn't bother you anymore. But it then latches onto something else, and with her it did. I can't remember exactly what, but we broke up, right? It's fine. Then I was very lonely, and I didn't really understand about OCD, anxiety, depression, all the rest of it. So I moved to Barcelona. And I tried to escape from my sadness and loneliness through sexual pleasure. And let me tell you, buddy, doesn't it just work? Woo! Doesn't it solve all of your problems? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You know it doesn't. You know it doesn't. It doesn't. But yeah, it was kind of a heavy porn phase for me. Earlier, I blamed the pandemic, but really, it was just, I think, just general sadness. But no. So I know it's weird when you have like. I have this theory that when you have like a kind of like obsessive like disorder or something like that, your sexuality is quite weird. You have like quite a weird sexuality. Like certain specific things that are a bit weird, like really turn you on, you know? So like for me, what really turns me on is like, you know, in like underwear, right? Women's underwear, where there's the bra, but then there's like a bit of like material, like elasticated material that goes around under the bra. Do you know what I mean? And then there's the panties, and then the same thing like around the top of the panties. Do you know what I mean? But it has to have a word written on it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like if it doesn't have a word on it, I'm like, oh, that's not sexy. But if it's got, you know what I mean? It's like Calvin Klein, like, oh yeah, a man's name. Do you know what I mean? Like it just has to have something written. Or like pink, yeah, the colour pink. Or like Nike Pro, yeah, she's a pro. Like it could have anything written on that thing, and it would still get me off. You know what I mean? Like it'd be like your mother's in hospital. Like, oh yeah, my mother's in hospital. Like. Do you have underwear like that? You're a lucky man, sir. But yeah, I was looking at a lot of porn. Okay, I was looking at a lot of porn. But my thing is, right, here's my theory, right? So my thing is, I watch lesbian porn. That's my main thing, lesbian porn. And I think that in the modern era, you know, you see all these surveys, it's like 95% of men watch porn, you know. In the modern era where all the porn is like, you know, gangbangs, choking, all this kind of like derogatory stuff. I think the fact that I watch lesbian porn, that makes me the closest thing we have to a modern day gentleman. I think I'm the best we have, I have to say. I came to this realization because around that time I had this thing, I had a phishing scam, you know. They sent me an email, they're like, we've hacked your computer, we've hacked your webcam, and we've recorded you watching porn, and we're going to send that video to all of your contacts. And then they tried to like twist the knife in, they're like, imagine what your mum's going to say when she sees what you've been watching. And I panicked for a second. I was like, oh no. Oh. And then I remembered, but Andy, you just watched lesbian porn. So she's going to get that video and be like, just lesbians. What a good boy. What a good boy. I raised him well. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I was dating, you know, I was dating quite a lot. I was on Tinder quite a lot. And let me tell you, when you're a primary school teacher, dating is hard. Dating is hard because primary school teacher, that's not a sexy profession for the ladies. Nice, I like that laugh. I would never fuck you. Yeah. It's true, like there's no 50 Shades of Grey where the guy's a primary school teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, punish me. Oh yeah, oh, write your name on the board. Oh, you're not allowed to sit next to your friend on the bus. So yeah, it wasn't easy, is what I'm saying. But it gets easier when you get into your 30s as a primary school teacher. It gets a bit easier, right? Because you start dating women in their 30s and they're looking for something different. You know, suddenly your profile becomes more attractive. You know what I mean? So like you have a stable job, you're good with kids, discount on the private school fees. You know, sometimes the date goes well, you go back to her place, she's like, how much did you say the discount was on the private school fees? You're like, 80%. She's like, you don't have to wear a condom. I was on Tinder a lot. I was so lonely. It's such a sad place to be. For a man, I know it's tough for women as well, but I think for men, Tinder is much, much worse. It's such a lonely place. Because I've been on my female friends' Tinders before, and I actually can't believe what it is. It's just like, it's a match. What? Already? What is going on? A man on Tinder, like, oh no, like, oh no, like, oh no, I wish I was dead, like, I wish I was dead, I wish I was dead, I wish I... Nothing, right? And eventually you just give up and you just start, you're not even reading their profile, you can't waste your time, so you're just like. And a lot of women don't know this, right? But if you do that, if you just go like, eventually Tinder will actually block you for 24 hours. There's women in the audience who are like, I didn't know that. It's true, right? And it's like Tinder feels sorry for you. It's like you're a loser, you need to do something else for 24 hours, go and read a book, this is sad. And the saddest thing of all is like every hour or two you're checking your phone like, oh, only 5 hours, oh, 5 hours, what? Sad, right, lonely. And I remember my lowest point on Tinder, right? I remember it very well. I did my classic thing like, got one match, right? And I'll never forget the profile. It was 6 photos of different coloured Furbies. Do you know what Furbies are? There's sort of like an egg. It's an owl. It's furry. It's a toy. They were different coloured, and not just that. They'd been like sort of messed with. They'd been like damaged in different ways. Like some of them had been burned by cigarette lighters. Some of them had like their ears cut off. It'd been like, you know that kid Sid from Toy Story? It was like he'd been allowed to play with them. And in the last photo of the 6, it's just half a woman's face at the side like this, like, hello. And I remember just seeing that, just being so lonely, being like, hey, want to go for a drink? Sarah has unmatched you. Pornhub.com. Sid from Toy Story fucking a Furby. To finish, I did, sometimes you would have some success on Tinder, and I met a girl and we started seeing each other, and she was from South America, and I just want to share this story at the end of the show just to show how when you have a gremlin head, it ruins sex. Ruins sex. We were having sex one time and it got quite kinky, and then she started going like, oh, pappy. She called me the daddy. I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm the daddy. All right, yeah, I'm the daddy. For about 10 seconds before the gremlin popped up. Andy, she's not saying pappy. She's saying, oh, Popeye. You're having sex with olive oil from Popeye. Imagine you're Popeye. And I'm like, can you just leave me alone? Can you just let me be the dirty? No, the more you try and control the thoughts, the worse they get. So she's like, oh, Pappy. Oh, Popeye. Shut up. Please just leave me alone. Oh, Pappy. Oh, Popeye. Shut up. Please just let me enjoy this. The more you try and control it, the worse it gets. Pappy. Popeye. Shut up. Pappy. Popeye. Shut up. Pappy. Popeye. Shut up. Eventually it feels I can't take it anymore. Pappy. Popeye. Pappy. Popeye. Pappy. Popeye. 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 Oh, fine. Fuck it. I'm Popeye. Oh, you likes that olive oil? I'm giving a steer. I've had me spinach. I'm ejaculating. Oh, go, 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 go. And that's the message of the show. I let these thoughts in, and what happened? We both had a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of Gremlin Head. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Don't get upset about nothing. Nothing is a state of mind. Yeah, I could see us both in my coffin, laying there side by side.